Welcome to What the Frap with J-Zilla. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a very special guest with me today. His name is Jeremy Sturgess, and he is a Marine. What's your rank and file there, guy? I don't want to mess this up.
Rank. I got my highest rank was corporal.
Corporal.
Right. Corporal.
All
That
right.
would be four. That was my highest rank. Right
That's what's
there.
up, man. So we were just talking about kids, man. Let's just go ahead and start there. So you are a single, and stop me if I'm wrong. You're a single parent father, right?
Yeah,
And
single parent and
yeah,
full custody, not like a single parent. 1 weekend on, 1 weekend off.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
never did the reserve thing.
hmm
Wasn't my thing, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah,
full head on, and then consistently with my son, man. Like.
that's awesome, man. We need more fathers to be like you. And he's 10 years old, right? I won't use his name or anything, but he's 10 years old.
Yeah, he's 10.
Uh-huh. And you were
He's
just
10,
telling me.
man. He does a lot for a 10-year-old. I'm proud of him, really. You know?
Mhm.
But hey, you know what, though? You're going to hear some stories and you're going to be like, I mean, how is he a parent? Yeah, sometimes, man. For real.
Oh, man. Yes,
Even
sir.
myself, I'm like, man, because I waited so long. I waited till I was in my, I'm not talking bad about anybody else, but waiting was planned, like all this stuff was planned out, you know. So,
Yeah,
but I
man.
waited a long time for that. You know
That
what I
is
mean?
awesome. Now, before we came on here, we were just talking about you and your 10-year-old son mountain climbing. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, so we started going camping, man, and then, for a 10-year-old, and I'm 36, so when we started really going camping hardcore, I
Mm-hmm.
probably about 34, 35-ish,
Yeah.
when it's hardcore. But in my mind, I was always doing it, right? Like Marines, and then but as I grew up, you'll hear about all this stuff too. But so we started camping, and then in my head, most of my things are like to make missions better, right? So the first time we went out, we had a tent and some hope, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, with a kid, a tent and some hope only go so far. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and as long as we're next to water, it's cool. Even as long as we don't have internet, as long as we're next to water, and we're good next to
Yeah.
water, right? And the river could be -3 degrees, man, and it's still cool, right? We'll go play in it, and yeah, that has. We'll get into that too. But yeah, -3, man, that it's cold.
I
You
couldn't
know,
do it, fam.
most you just, I don't know. I wouldn't either. Tell you the truth, man.
So wait,
But I
whose ideal was it?
but I wouldn't. But I do though, right?
Right,
So
right, right. So whose
yeah.
ideal was it if you saying that you can't do it?
I mean, because the cold water sucks, man. Really. Like, but if you look at it in a whole different tune, like, I don't know. So with that, so with the camping, me and my son got it because I don't want to get too deep, man. We're gonna
Mm.
get into some of your questioning, and we're just gonna keep going. So me and my son, we were camping, and then we got to a point where we were bored. I was like, well, what else can we do out here? What can I show you? Let me get survival books. I'll teach you how to do traps and make traps and do this. And we're still losing things. So, Jemez is a beautiful place. And I'm like, well, what's around here too? There's some big ass rocks, man. Like, so there's a monastery in Jemez Springs, right?
Right.
And I mean, monks and mystics and others in that category, they work off of energy. So there's good energy there, man.
Yeah.
You have to be there to know. Like you can talk about it,
Yeah.
but if you're not there, man, like there's good energy. So that's the whole thing. So I was like, what else is there? There's rocks. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a harness the first time we went out, right? I
Wow.
just
So
had ordered a rope off of Amazon, a 30-foot rope or something, a little bitty thing, right? But
yeah.
30 feet is a long, right? That's from the top of your house down, right?
Right. Right.
It's pretty big. And we went out there, and I said, well, we jumped over the river because I seen some rocks across the river that were perfect, right? I could tie
Right.
off something, boom, go back like I did in boot camp, I guess, basically, and then just
Yeah.
go, right? And except for different because I didn't have a harness. I just had an idea of how it would go if I held it, if I held the rope a certain way,
yeah.
if I wrap it around me
Uh-huh.
and hold it over here, like way over here, and put weight on it, it might pull this down, but I should be good, right? That's
Oh
kind of
my
how it went in
goodness.
my head. So I was like, all right, this is
Yeah.
how it's more. And then it's just me and my son.
Mhm.
I've built up a first aid kit since we went out. My first aid kit has a water purifying straw. It has a snake biting kit.
Oh
It
yeah.
has a bunch of stuff in it. It has like smoke. If we get messed up and he has to build a fire and pop some smoke, throws
Okay.
it on there, it'll burn a certain color. So I built that up. That's still in that, but that don't give you confidence, man, as a parent. You know what I mean? Like,
I know. I
because
feel like
you're
my
like,
hands are sweating as you're telling this story, man.
dude. So my 10-year-old child, okay, he's 9 at this point though, 9 or 8. We still good?
Yeah. Oh, you
9 or
check with
8,
your
man.
producer over
And
there?
yeah, the computer or the video went nuts, video went nuts. So the thought, man, I'm like, man, not only am I gonna fuck myself up, dude, I'm leaving my child out here, dude. Like we
Right.
crossed the
Right.
river to get out here, right? Nobody's out here,
Right.
you know.
Did you
So
tell
that goes
somebody your
ahead,
location?
huh?
Did you tell somebody your location? Just in case?
I tell my mom I'm going out there,
Oh, good,
right?
good.
I got a cool fucking little watch that'll give me my actual GPS. So we'll go recon, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I'll get the GPS, the exact coordinates, satellite from my watch, right? I'm gonna inspect the gadget in this motherfucker, right?
right.
And
You got to explain to some of our viewers who is
hey
Inspector
man, hey,
Gadget.
okay, inspector, yeah, that was a
no, we'll throw it in.
cool
Maybe
ass
we'll put
dude
a
in
clip
my
or
time.
something.
Inspector Gadget was a cool ass dude in my time, man. I don't even know when that was really.
He was like he was like a cyborg, right? Like he had all these different extensions and things
Yeah,
like that.
he had his
Yeah,
Inspector Gadget coat on. He could
yeah,
shoot his arm out as long as he wanted to
yeah,
and snap.
man.
But he's like, "Bitch, come here, right?"
Look, I didn't see that episode, but I'm sure he meant it. So I got a question. You've
he had a
mentioned,
dog too, though, man. I tell you
yeah,
what.
I got a question. You keep mentioning energy when you were up there, and you can't even explain it. I'm gonna actually ask you to try to explain it. Like, what do you mean by energy, and why
So
is
as
it
a
important to
human,
you?
dude, okay, I could get deep with this human, or I mean, okay, so I could get deep with the energy concept and us as human being, right? Like
Yeah,
okay. People tell us our body is a temple and blah blah and yada yada. That's been broken. I haven't heard that too often lately, but when I
yeah,
was
yeah.
growing up, your body's a temple,
Mm-hmm.
blah blah, whatever you put in it, you kind of get out in the same sense. But
Right.
so that's breaking it down like Barney style, right?
Yeah.
Right?
You gotta just explain Barney too, man. We're old.
Shit, man. As soon as I said that, I was thinking I'm gonna have to explain this little dude. All right. So
No, see, right here we can throw in a little informational thing. Don't even worry about it. Just continue on with
all
your
right.
story about body being temple and energy.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. Yeah, man.
So you were saying how we've kind of it's gotten lost in translation, right?
Well, I
This idea of
mean,
body is the temple.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna have to get past Barney now, so I'm gonna have to talk about him for a second. We're
Go
gonna
ahead,
have.
talk about Barney, man.
Yeah, I was looking. I'm like, but Okay, let me explain Barney real quick. Barney was because dude, Barney style. I learned that before the Marine Corps, and I fucking said that all the time. I'm like, bitch, whoo, break that shit down Barney style for you. Barney was a purple dinosaur, danced around and taught kids, right? So he taught youth back in the day. Now they're watching things that are, I don't know, man, that are like fed to them instead of like, hey, we made this, let's produce it, let's show it. Now it's like, hey, I made this, does it fit your agenda?
Oh yeah.
With it, and then if it doesn't, let's get it out of here, right? Like
Yeah. Tailor
everything's
made.
tied down, dude. Everything's tied down compared to back in the day with Barney. But so Barney would tell children how to do things and break it down. So when I say break it down Barney style, that just means get into your child's state of mind real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of our child's state of mind will be a little haywire too, based on the energy, right?
Yeah, no, I'm here. Yeah, we're talking about energy, but I'm ready. I've got my Barney style mindset ready.
All right, so with the energies, man, you just have to feel certain things. So I'm from Texas. You're from Texas too.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't grown up to like walk outside and be like, man, it's a fucking beautiful day, and I feel these energies are beautiful, right? Like,
yeah,
yes, man. Like, I grew up like conservative. I mean, not that conservative aren't like that. It's just that you're not. I don't know. You're taught a celebration, but it has to be in a certain fashion, right? And like,
right,
because we didn't have cool dances in where I went.
Really? Too close, right? Didn't want y'all getting any teen pregnancies.
Because you get pregnant, man. If you dance together, you're gonna get pregnant, so you couldn't do that.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. I lived in a little place, man, in Texas. But hey, and they thought I was the devil, man. I wasn't they didn't think I was walking Christ. They hated me. Dude.
Oh my goodness.
And man. I really didn't know why. I don't know. Yeah. I listen to loud music, dude. I have like 15-inch speakers. Hyphonics, dude. I remember that they were Hyphonics. They had a purple rim. These are special, right? So 15's in the trunk.
Oh yes, got that thought.
12 sitting in the back seat, and 10's in the floorboard of the back seat, right? Man. So like my mom in Texas, you have crossovers, right? So there's like you'll be driving down the highway, and there's a crossover, and that means like you can get out and go into the country, and there's houses or something, whatever, right?
Right.
So they're like spread apart about, I don't know, a mile apart. Mm-hmm. When I would hit the first crossover before my house, my mom calling me, turn that shit off. Because my garage doors would just be vibrating, dude.
Oh.
So in school, I would park at my little bitty school. We'd park, and I had to, at some point, my car door got fucked up, so I had to jump out my window like fucking, what's that? So, Dukes of Hazzard, man. So I had to jump out the window. I had to, because if you open the door, it would just fall off, right?
What?
Like my door on the hinge. I backed up, right, at a car wash one time, and I didn't shut my door. I just hit the gas, and it bent my door backwards, right? Like Tommy Boy, right?
Yeah.
When he puts the gas in and shit, right?
Right.
So it did that, right? So I fucking bend it back and put it back, but I could never open it again, right?
Oh my goodness.
So I have to jump in and out the window all the time, dude.
That's
And
nuts, man.
but so my teachers would come out, right? My teachers would come out, and they're way the hell. Their classroom is way the hell. My chemistry teacher was the main one. So he was way the hell over there.
Mm.
And boom, he'd come out. What the hell are you doing? Turn that shit off. I don't have time for this. We're starting school. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So I turned it off and I jump out my window, right? I don't know if he thought that was like a disrespectful thing, but I definitely got like, what the fuck are you doing? Look, from my teachers. The students, because we were such a small school, they knew though, right?
Right.
Everybody didn't know that's why my door got fucked up, because at the time, man, there was hot girls at the car wash, so that's kind of what happened, man. Like, I just forgot my door was open because I was looking at
Hot girls.
I was looking at the cheerleader back there, and I was like, man, So it happened, and as soon as I shut it, I was like, fuck, I can't ever open it. And then I could tell my parents because I was lucky I even had a car, dude.
Now, were you the type to do like a Dukes and Hazzard, slide across the hood and just jump in through the window? Did you just kind of play it off like, I'm just so cool, I don't need to open the door?
No. I mean, I don't know about sliding across the hood, but everybody knew me for jumping in the window, right?
Yeah,
it wasn't like a, what the hell is he doing every now and again kind of thing. It's like, oh, we know that Jeremy's not going to open his door. He's going to jump in the window, right?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, but it wasn't like a big questioning thing. It wasn't like, man, because there were groups in school, right? But there weren't like, you had your preps and you had your like cowboys and like ranchers, and you had your different variety where I grew up. Yeah. There was just like few of us, So if you were in a certain group, they knew. I wasn't in any.
Okay, I see.
Group, dude. Like I could blend in with everybody. It wasn't a thing. Like if you fucked with cow, dude. At one point in my life, dude, I did fences for a rancher, dude. Like we castrated bulls, man. Like they tried to trick me into eating them, but I was old enough to know that shit was bull nuts, and I wasn't about to eat that shit.
Right, man. So
I was just waiting for like that moment. I don't know if this will tell you, but the moment where the rancher's daughter comes home from like college or whatever, and she's like, "Oh," like you're like, "Man, I fucking knew I was here for a reason," like.
So we're back to energy. You're like, "Oh, there's some divine intervention, and this girl is here."
So, but that's energy, man. I'm telling you. So as I was a child, I didn't know it though. Now I'm more in tune to it, in a sense.
Yeah.
You'll see what I'm saying when I get into more of it. But so in him, as you feel this energy, and as a human race, certain things are closed off for us now, right? But when you go to a certain place, you're like, I feel this feels good. But that's all it goes, right? That's all you get to.
Yeah, man.
Then you move on, right? And you're like, whatever.
Right.
But the reason it feels that good and you feel that way and you're stretching and all that good stuff is because there's a certain energy there, right? So it gives you that. You're like, hey, I need to take a vacation and get the hell out of the city, and you go to the trees and woods and dirt, and all of a sudden you feel better, and then you go back to the city and you feel better for a while, and then you're like, man, I need to go back to the dirt. If you really think about it, I mean, you might glamorize the dirt with any kind of RV nowadays or whatever you want to
Yeah,
work with.
yeah.
But you that's what you want to do, right? And the reason is because there's a whole different energy to it, man. There's a whole different tune to that.
That is so true, man. There are sometimes now you've met me in person. I'm a pretty big guy, right? And there's a
Yeah.
place here that we go. If you go off of Tramway around the like Alta Vista, Montgomery, a couple streets over that area. I love going out there because being at the base of a mountain makes me feel like I'm a normal sized person, right? And I do feel that energy. And I took my kids out there. I look forward to taking my wife out there. And I know exactly what you're talking about, man. You need that break from just technology and all this easy stuff. Because I do feel like we're supposed to have this sort of Abrahamic journey at some point in our lives, at least once, you know?
Well, it's not. Well, that I mean, it's that, right?
Yeah,
But naturally, right?
right.
This technology is new to us, okay? So in real life, dude, we're connected to nature way more than we're connected to our iPhone or cell phone or
Hmm.
whatever you want to be connected to that you have in your hand 24/7.
Right.
We're way connected more to nature. We've lost it,
Mm.
and there's certain steps that we've gone through and processes, and I mean it's not getting any better
Right.
because we're so we say, oh, you grew up a spoiled child. We're a spoiled race as a human race, dude.
Yes.
Spoiled, man.
Absolutely.
Like that's the biggest thing, dude. Some people you can't even talk to them about before there were computers.
Yeah.
I was telling my son, man, you know what? I didn't have a cell phone when I was growing. There was no way somebody could just call me, but bam, 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 and this
Yeah.
thing was happening. It wasn't, man. You had to, at my point, you had to page me. And then I had to find a payphone, and I had to have money to put in the
Yes.
payphone, call you back. I mean, if that wasn't the case,
Yeah.
sometimes your girlfriend's paging you all the time, and she could text in messages, and if you hold the pager upside down, it says it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You could spell "I love you," right? You just have to push in certain numbers, and it'll pop up if you turn it upside down, right?
That was text
And
message back
people
in
don't
the day.
have that nowadays either because they're like emoji, emoji,
Yeah.
emoji, emoji. Yeah. Why are you
Right.
trying to type in code when you could just hit this button right here that says you're pissed off,
Yeah.
man? I don't know.
And it's hard to really get that across, man. Like these kids will never know about the hang up, the slam, the phone hang up, right? Like it's hard. I think I saw that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I saw a
man.
comedian say something about this, where it's like, you got your cell phone and you're like this is ridiculous. I'm out. Click. You know what I mean? It just takes all the fun out of it. But back in the day,
And they're like, what? Hold on. The
yeah,
other person's like, hold on, wait. That's it, though.
yeah,
There's no,
yeah.
okay, bitch, I'm getting off. I'm going to fuck you up,
I can't
Twitter.
wait to see you.
Bam, bam, bam. Yeah, this motherfucker just hung up on me because of this, or whatever,
Yeah,
right? They
man,
just, now it's too much.
man,
We have options now, right? We're spoiled, dude.
yeah,
We have options. So you get on you get on YouTube or something, right?
hmm
And you're looking for a recipe, and you get on there and you start watching that recipe, and then you're like, oh shit, and you see another recipe, you're like, oh, I'm kind of interested in it. Boom, and then the next thing you know, your 5-minute recipe turned into like 4 hours of your day, and you're like, man,
right,
did I really accomplish anything, or do I know how to cook food? Like,
right.
you don't, man, you don't. You have to. I don't know. You have to live life before you can bitch about it. I think,
Right.
in a sense.
Well, I want to bring you back to this energy talk, but I got so your military stuff, man. I have a lot of questions, but you were
All
talking
right.
about this energy stuff, and it's really interesting to me. So when you say we're not as connected, there's a story out there about let's see, the Tesla owner, what's his name, Elon Musk, and
Elon
he and his
Musk, right?
mother would just sit for hours in the field, right? And she was to
Yeah.
have him try to guess what number she was thinking of, and this is out of infinity. It could have been anything, and they would do this for hours, man.
You talking about Tesla's mother did that to
Yeah,
him, right?
yeah, yeah. When he
I
was
don't know
young.
Elon Musk. I don't know Elon Musk's mother did. You know what? I know about Elon Musk, but he said some stuff about Tesla, man, that you have to pay attention to in a sense,
Hmm.
right? Because they're geniuses. I'm not saying Elon Musk an idiot. That dude, he knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah,
But at the same time, uh, most of the stuff, you know, that he started his stuff off with was Tesla, because that's how his car engine
mm,
was built, because of Tesla. But yeah, Tesla's mother used to, she used to say, play a game with them, man.
mm.
It's we're antennas. So let me tell you that. So we're
Yes.
antennas, and that's where we lost it with this energy. There's certain spots in the world that's energy. We just lost it. We don't have that much contact with it anymore.
Mm.
But so with Tesla, Tesla wouldn't bullshit, man. He would say, "Look, this idea came to me. I seen it in 3D." He would say, "You know what? The pieces came to me, the sprockets, the everything came together. I wrote it down. I put it together. It worked,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No, oh, we have to take 30 seconds off of this. It
It
worked.
worked. Yeah.
Everything worked, dude." So we're an antenna. Tesla had it. So Tesla, when he was born, actually, the story was when his mother was giving birth to Tesla, there was a thunderstorm above him.
Hmm.
All that electricity, man. I see pictures of Tesla, right? And he's sitting in the room, and he has his notebook, and there's this lightning and stuff going all around him.
Uh huh.
Well, that's when he was born
That's
in the
nuts.
story, right?
Yeah.
So he had the connection, right? His antenna was tuned, whatever it was in the atmosphere at the time, the positive ions, the negative, whatever makes lightning, thunder,
Hmm.
rain happen, that was there, dude.
Yeah.
So and so when he was born, that happened. He was just in the right. You have to be in the right. It's like a stew pot, man. You can't put certain stuff in your stew without fucking it up, right? It has to be perfect for it to be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Gotta get the
So
ingredients right.
you have to get it right, dude.
Hmm.
And with the world, there's energies out there that have to be, if they're at a certain spot, dude, genius to us, genius happens.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh shit, because he has what 80% of the shit we have now is because of Tesla, man. eighty
Oh
percent, I
yeah. Oh
believe.
yeah. And
And
he ate for that.
but we didn't listen to him then. That's what Elon Musk said. That's why I said you got to worry about what you got. Well, not worry about, but you got to listen to what he said, man, because he said, you know, Tesla just didn't have the same marketing ability,
That's it.
right?
Yeah.
But that is though, because Thomas Edison just squashed him, dude.
Yes.
That was just pure evil, man. Like if you look at it, like free energy, okay. So if not even thinking free energy, okay, if all of us had like everybody had a $25 electric bill a month,
Hmm.
and all that money goes to this one power place that's providing wireless energy, they still are rich, dude. So what the fuck with this
Yeah.
oil stuff? Anyway, though, so with the energy and the planet, because with that too, with Tesla and stuff, the pyramid, dude. Tesla made his coil over a water reservoir, which would have consistently had Earth vibrations,
Mm.
right? And it would have consistently threw out power. You just had to figure out like how to make the power continue on, right?
Okay.
Like this, right? So we have the pyramid. It was built on a limestone block, but that limestone block has, and the Nile River's moved a little bit. but it was closer to the pyramid. But it has a natural spring going through the bottom of the lime,
Uh-huh.
or what, the bedrock, not the limestone, the bedrock. Because people fuck me up if I
It's
say
like, oh,
limestone.
he's full of it, man. He said
Yeah,
limestone.
he's talking out of that. But it came through the bedrock, and it was in the center of the pyramid, right?
Yeah.
And that was before. I mean, I get into that real deep too, but like, so that it was just about energy. Tesla said if you can figure out the sound, frequency, and vibration, you'll figure out the universe.
Yeah.
All right.
And
And Tesla was also like, he was just crazy about the numbers 369. So anything he did, like his hotel room,
uh-huh.
stayed, it had to equal 9, so it had to be 303, and or you can't go over 9. It had to be 3, 6, or 9. So when
Yeah.
I said 303, right, 3 plus 0 plus 3 is 6, right? So he's still in his range. So he always had, and then like he always had to do that. He had OCD too.
Mhm.
Nobody really talks about that, but he always had to like turn his knob
So many times.
3 times,
Yeah.
right?
Oh
Or
man.
like but it was always 369. The point is, all right, the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
If you break it down mathematically, and you're a mathematician and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? 369 are three numbers, biggest numbers. I can't. I'm not a
No,
mathematician,
so
and I
I
don't.
understand what you're saying, but I'm gonna clean up a couple of things. One, for those of you out there, so we were started with Elon Musk, who is the owner of the
Yeah,
Tesla company that makes the electric Tesla cars, and he's a huge fan of Tesla, who
right.
he's talking about. And your best for all of you movie buffs out there, I think if you watch The Illusionist, I believe it was, where the Tesla guy that there, I think, is Nikola Tesla's grandson or something like that. He's some sort of lineage. But that's a quick, you know. So just make sure you know
Yeah,
which. When we say Tesla, we're talking about the Tesla, not the company, but the Tesla.
yeah. This car isn't driving around figuring out pyramids and stuff.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
yeah, this is a real person. Like, he knew stuff, man. But we just, as a human, okay, so energies, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a human race, we take wrong. We have two options all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
We, at the time, we might not know it. We might be like, this is the most serious thing or whatever, and then we might feel that it's the most serious thing, but we're like, yeah, whatever, right?
Right.
It's not a part of me right now. I work at Walmart and I stock shelves, and that's my life, and I don't,
Yeah,
fuck
man.
everything else, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is 9 to 5, goddamn it, or not even sometimes
Right.
like 9 motherfucking 12, man. If
Yeah.
you're a cop, So, but all that, right?
Right.
And it's just a distraction for us, right?
Right, man.
Us off the real path of our energy. So our energy, we have a third eye, right? There's no doubt in my mind, okay, that there's a third eye. It's called the pineal gland, right? And scientists say, oh, well, it's there and nobody can figure it out. Even medical people, it's there. We just don't know. We know it releases this and melatonin, and your pineal gland can release DMT,
Mm.
right? When you're dying, that's what releases the DMT. It makes you, like, hopefully, no matter what kind of pain you're going through, because I'm saying this as a human, dude, like, no matter how much pain you're going through, hopefully it releases enough to where it doesn't matter, like, because this is a vessel, right? No matter what. We're attached to energy on this planet because this is our planet, dude. How we got here and how things have progressed and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
that's on the table for us, but I mean, and the reason I say it's on the table for us is because have we taken the right turns when we were given the right turns? Like Edison and Tesla, right?
Right.
We could have went with Tesla and we could have had solar panels and all this stuff extremely scientifically built right now.
Yeah.
We had already put all the money into it and all that, right? And they would be awesome right now. And we could charge, and we would. The biggest thing too is the batteries. Like batteries, we could charge batteries, but sometimes it just takes too long to charge them, and it also the battery won't actually hold it. It'll drain, on its own.
There are some things. I think it was Lexus or Mercedes that has a car now. 15 minutes for a full charge. I think it goes up to 700 miles. And so what you're talking about is you have to ask the question why, right? Why is it even an opportunity for someone to just put their head down and work for X amount of time without learning anything, experiencing things, and trying to think for themselves? And what's happened traditionally, if you look at history, that the people at the top didn't want their citizens below them thinking. When before the Moors got into it with the British, they literally made sure that no one could read but like the royal family and like the nobles, right? And that was on purpose. And then they were feeling some sort of threat from the like Moorish countries and other countries who were making sure that every citizen from the lowest of the low all the way up to the king there, they made sure they knew how to read. They made sure they had fresh water. They could speak several languages, all these things. And they were worried that their way of life was going to be upset once they get a hold of this.
I'm not going to interrupt too much, but pause right there.
Yeah.
What did they do? They wanted their people to succeed, man. That was it. So continue.
Yeah. Well, the idea was you're only as strong as your weakest link. We've heard that in the military and in sports, all our lives. You're only as strong as your weakest link. Yeah, you may have the fastest guy, the guy who can throw the furthest in football.
Right.
But if that guy misses a block, you still doesn't matter. All those talents go away because you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yo, and from Texas and the football and the analogy of that, man, is like we had our star quarterback, man.
Yeah.
We had our fucking dude, right? Even in school, I think, man, my class, I was thinking about it, man. I think my class, maybe 100 people, dude. And that might be
your graduating class?
Yeah, my graduating class might have been 100, but if that sounds too much, then this definitely is, dude. I'm maybe 50, dude. Honestly. Because with the people, you knew everybody, right? That's like the movies where you see these movies making fun of movies and they knew these like cowboys and you see the different crowds, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of how it was, man. It was like a funny movie in the sense, right?
How close were y'all to like Friday Night Lights or anything like that?
Friday Night Lights.
Like when football happened on Friday nights.
Yeah, that was our big. So Texas football, man.
But I'm saying in your hometown.
That's a whole other thing, man. That's a whole different thing because So
here's my question.
Hazing and stuff, man. I was a young kid, man. Talk about hazing. I think I played football through, maybe 10th grade, maybe. Just cause it was so hardcore, man. At the time, so you're not supposed to be. Right. Now I know. Right. At the time, I was thinking, man, this is bad. I'm not playing football anymore. This is fucked up, man.
Man.
Fucked up or whatever. Maybe I'm fucked up or something. This isn't good, and everybody else is doing it. Like, why am I not doing it?
Right.
But now I understand why. But at the time, football is a big thing in Texas, man. Your coaches are intense, man. Like, fuck, dude, I don't know if anybody knows about frog hops, man, but I guarantee I did over like 9 million frog hops. Nice.
Yeah.
And that's because I don't know, man. I wasn't in the same little box everybody else was. They would say something to me, and I'm
Hmm.
like, well, that shit don't make
Well,
sense.
it's like that
And then
goldfish
my
thing,
brain
right?
would go through it, and it'd be like, and then my mouth would talk, right? It's like that shit don't make sense. And then some bullshit come out of my mouth, and then next thing you know, I'm doing frog hops, like
Yeah.
like what the hell just happened,
Or you weren't fitting the
But that's
mold.
how it was.
Yeah.
That's
You
how
weren't
it
fitting the
was.
mold. It's like that goldfish thing. Like the goldfish only grows to the size of its environment, right? So if you keep it in
Of
a
the bowl.
yeah, so if you keep it in a little bowl, it stays a little goldfish. But the bigger the
I
tank
mean, but
gets,
because I guess that's why I look at it like maybe I wasn't doing what I was supposed to.
mm,
Because in the sense that you're talking about, the coaches were trying to make me fit in a bigger bowl in a sense,
right,
right? But I was like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like,
right,
your shit isn't my bullshit. This isn't me, right?
right,
Like,
right.
you can yell all day, but that's not what I'm about. Like, I'm cool.
So
And
okay, so Marine, we're back to high school. So you talked about your high school life a little bit there. We talked about energy. So what made you actually choose to go into the military? What brought you there?
dude, so so at fourth grade, I went to my like permanent school. Other than that, I was bouncing around my whole life. So fourth grade, I went to a permanent school, and like I don't know, I met my permanent friends, dude, and my friend's dad, man. And shout out to him, dude, Jimmy Williams. That's my
That's your boy, huh?
man.
Yeah.
You don't even know, man. So that's like my dad, right?
Okay.
In the so, but his experience in life was Vietnam, dude. Right?
Oh, that's hardcore, man.
No, he would, but we would, and then they would find certain places, and I would go stay the night with my buddy, and he would be able to tell us certain things, and like, so we got into the military, man. We're like, fuck yeah, dude. We would buy, like, they lived out in the woods and stuff, right?
Right.
Like, we could go dig a 10-foot hole, dude, and make a clubhouse. We didn't have to build one in a tree because the trees suck.
Trees.
We could dig a 10-foot hole in the ground and put stuff over it,
Yeah.
and that was our clubhouse, dude. That was what we had a party one time, and the girls came in. It was like the first time dude kissed girl, and it was in a hole, right? That we dug, a 10-foot hole that we dug. That
Yeah.
was the biggest thing. Like, but for me as a child, that's how I grew up, dude. So like the biggest, coolest thing was, oh, so and so kissed so and so, and they were in the hole we dug, the 10-foot hole we dug, dude.
That's
Like,
nuts.
we aren't bullshitting, right?
Right.
And we would always go to Army Surplus. Was my Toys R Us, right? Toys R Us, Army Surplus, man. I'll be like, I want that. We dress like we did and go to school. We dressed in our camis and went to school, man. If you did that nowadays, they would call the police and tell them to arrest you, dude,
Yeah.
because they're gonna blow the shit up. Dude.
Well, unless you bedazzle it, then it's just a style.
Yeah, right. And if you have bedazzled camis, you're cool. But we didn't. We always the camis were all out. We
Mm.
always had like I grew up eating like so at the Army Surplus store they would have the Vietnam rations.
Okay.
And then World War I and World War II were different rations. So I think it goes from like C1 rations, they're like cans and shit, and
Yeah.
C2, they're like cans. Of Vietnam, they're like the bags,
Yeah.
but they still get fucking bad. So like we would go there and we're buying all this shit, and we go out camping, and a pound cake would definitely not be eatable anymore from Vietnam, right?
Right.
So we would put that shit aside because it's like a brick.
Oh, okay.
Boom. Right? And so when I joined the military, I mean, I was kind of used to the Vietnam gear in the sense, right?
Uh-huh.
Camis, from my house, there was a watermelon field right next to my house. Big fucking field, right?
Yeah.
And all I knew about the field was there an old ass dude that drove around on the tractor that tended that field. That's all I knew about it.
Uh-huh.
But And that was good. That field was a good time, man. We'd just jump over the fence or jump over there and grab a watermelon in
Hmm.
watermelon season. Come back, dude. We'd be me and watermelon just free, dude. The farmer had like a certain spot in his field that had like cantaloupe and certain different other things, and we
That
would
is
like
awesome. I
we,
mean,
yo,
aside for the stealing part, like that is pretty awesome.
right. But aside from that part, but it was hey man, it was a big fucking field, right?
Yeah.
Big. He got pissed. He shot us, dude.
Like
Like
shot at
that was
you
kind
or
of what
shot
he was
you?
working up to. Yeah, so we were playing on it one day,
Uh,
and he had tractors out in the pasture that was way out there, and nobody could see it because the trees blocked it. And I'm
yeah.
telling you, these fields were huge, and they were like cut off by trees in certain like acres and
Uh-huh.
area, I guess. And he had stuff out there. We go out there as kids and play on it. We're like, yeah, we're riding on the tractor. This is cool. And then we see an old man riding up on the tractor for real. So we just shoot across the field,
Uh-huh.
dude. And this one time we shot across the field to the spot we knew. And we jumped over the fence and we got in this little old hut. And we're crouching down.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we hear the tractor pull up, tractor diesel. So that's pretty loud.
Right.
He's like, hey, I seen you. Stay off my land. Boom!
Oh
Right?
no.
And like, because it was, I would get, because we didn't hear none of that,
Yeah.
right? So I would guess it was like a double barrel. He was
Oh
old too.
yeah.
So, but boom! And like, we're ducking in this little shed. And all of a sudden, all these splinters fly over our head, man. We're like, what the? It was wild as a kid, man. We're like, oh, we're gonna die, we're
right,
gonna die.
man.
So even then, though, but in that moment, what's really happening as a human is chemicals in your body are just going insane, right?
Yeah, man.
It might. So you don't know what you don't know. So you don't know what you don't experience, and you only know what you experience, right?
Right.
And that's because certain situations will open up certain doors in your body. Right? So that was pretty intense. So like I imagine adrenaline cells opened up and went crazy, right? But
Right.
just because they opened up at that moment doesn't mean they're going to stay open. They're going to open up. They're going to close, right?
So you have to use it like a
But
muscle. You have to train that sort of thing, right?
right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then so because it's all, your brain's all about receptors, man. So it's like serotonin, norepinephrine, dopamine, all this stuff, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest thing I've learned from the VA over the years, man, is just chemical balance, man, is
Right.
what you're trying
Right.
to go for in a sense, But so what you have to understand is certain moments in your life it'll open up certain doors in your body,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you'll have a certain feeling and rush, but if you don't get if it's not continuous, it's not going to stay open. It'll go away.
Right.
But if it's a continuous thing, if you're in a constant state of that,
Mm-hmm.
that's when your body is kind of like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to believe or do, or what are you doing? Like, there's a lot of stuff it can trick you into. Right. So, yeah, we grew up in Army surplus stores. We ate all the crazy. So I was ready for it. And then in high school, I remember the day, man, I was walking to skip class. and somebody walked past me, and it's a small place, so you walk past everybody
Mm-hmm.
at least once a day, right?
Right.
So there's no new face or nothing. Like, if they talk to you, they talk to you. If they don't, whatever. It's like, and that was the groups in a sense. And I didn't have a group, like I said, so people talked to me. And this dude walked past and he said, "Hey, man, did you hear about the buildings?" And I was like, "Nope, nothing about the buildings." And I just kept going, right?
Right.
Like, you're right.
Oof, I know what's coming. I know what buildings he's talking about already.
I'm thinking about skipping my classes,
Right.
right? I'm like, whatever, right, building. But dude wouldn't have, like, we talked to everybody in this, like, in a sense, but dude wouldn't have been the one to say, "Did you hear about that?" Right?
Right.
It would have been like I don't know. I guess in high school, then the social scale or something, right?
Mm.
Like his group wasn't in my group, and I wasn't in a group. Oh, I wasn't in a group, so that's why he said it. But when he told me, it wasn't natural, right?
Right.
Like that's what I'm trying to say. So it wasn't natural, and I took it, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then I went to my first period, and then in my first period, that's when they shut the whole shit down, and they have TVs in there, and
Yeah.
buildings are falling down. But this wasn't the first main thing, dude. Like I was in high school for the Columbine shit, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And that shit triggered a whole bunch of different emotions for people, dude.
Right.
And like I said, I'm like the perfect kid in my town, and everybody knew everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happened, man, like me and my buddies, we came to school. We didn't think about it, and it wasn't about the killings or the massacre those two assholes did either, though. But we just and then every Friday. Here's something else that's crazy to me too. It's every Friday. Football players wear jerseys,
Right.
right?
Right.
That's the day, dude. Everybody, and then khakis and jerseys, dude.
Yeah.
That was it. Right?
Yeah.
So like 2 days after that bullshit happened, me and my buddies wore khakis and a white T-shirt, dude. And it was like four of us.
Yeah. Oh no. So like, what are
And they
y'all up
sent us.
to?
No, they sent it. They said, "Nah, we don't trust you because we know you, right? Little town,
Oh
dude."
my
And then they said,
goodness.
"No." But
Right.
the thing is even in a little town, dude, we felt the repercussions of the
Yes.
bullshit, right?
Yeah.
So that's a whole different thing, but that's energy too, man. So you feel the whole community gets full of that,
Mm.
which is not a good energy. That's a negative energy. So the whole community goes through it. So no matter how it affects them, at one point in their life, they go through that energy,
Right.
no matter what, right?
And
It could affect them good or bad,
and just to be
but no
clear,
matter what.
right. And just to be clear, when you talk about those two buildings, you're talking about the towers, correct?
So the trench coat
Nine
kids or
11.
whatever, right? No, the two. I said the two assholes.
No,
You
no.
talking
When
about?
you talked about the two buildings earlier, were you talking about nine
Oh yeah,
11?
two
Yeah.
buildings. So when I went to school, yeah, I kind of got off track. But
No, you're
see,
good. That's why I'm
all
here.
this stuff kind of goes in together because man, with the shooting
Mm.
nowadays, man, it's like then it was a big deal. You heard about it, you knew about it, you fucking like came to attention,
Yeah.
right? Your body came to everybody's body, not just certain people. Everybody came to attention. Was like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
dude, just happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we hear it. It's not what the fuck just happened. It's like, who who was being targeted, and how can we? I don't know, man. Like they try to get the shooters and pinpoint them to who they were targeting and why they targeted them.
Mm-hmm.
So can we fix that? You know, it's if we're this far in at this point, it's I'm not saying it's too late, but we need to think different, right?
Yeah. Well, I think different people need to think differently. So for those people, so you got to realize that the media has a job to do, and make money to attract
But see, that's the
advertisement.
problem.
Well, yeah, but that's just one group.
So
So
if
you
you say
also,
anybody has to make money, that's where it gets bad. Because if they could
yeah,
make more money going one way than the other, they're going to make more money.
but that's just
They're
one
not in
group
the
though.
world. They're not going to, you
I
know.
think what you're talking about though, you got this group that has to make money. You got the politicians who are trying to get reelected so they can make more money. But I think what you're saying is for the most of
It's all
us,
about making more money, though, man. It's not even politicians. They're bought off.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Those
that's what I
guys.
mean. They want to get reelected so they can continue to be bought off. Because if they lose the election and they're working in some firm somewhere,
You know what? We haven't even got into the military right in
mm,
politics for me. So I know, man.
yeah.
I already. We're about to get deep into
All
how they
right.
get paid off.
Well, I'm not even ready for that. We gotta get back to the beginning of your career. But what I'm saying for you is when you're saying that we need to think differently, like let the politicians and the media and all of them do what they're gonna do. But what we as a people
But
have to
they are.
do is what you talk about. Understand that energy. Open that third eye. Learn how to think and what to think about. Self responsibility and competence, I think, is what you're getting at for the most of us, right? Not the people that talk.
I've always said just straight discipline,
Yeah.
man. If you have a some discipline in your life, like a certain, like you do certain thing at a certain time or whatever, like you're good. You have that discipline in you.
Mm,
You just have to train it to be like a whole, like everything, right?
right.
And I'll talk about that more too when about after like in the military and about the middle of it,
Yeah. Well, let's start
when
at the
I
beginning here with you. Talk to me about boot camp. Let's go step by step here because
so boot camp,
yeah,
man. So okay, so like I said, man, me and my buddies were growing up digging big ass holes in the backyard.
kissing
You
girls.
know, going on surplus was our Toys R Us,
Yeah.
man. We didn't say, hey, let's go to Toys R Us. Hell no, Army surplus. We were looking for the Alice packs. We were looking for the MREC rations or whatever
Yeah.
the hell they were called, dude. And like, so when I got to the Marine Corps, or okay, I heard the news over the thing, and at the time I wasn't in the military state of mind,
Mm.
so it
Oh.
wasn't a big deal. But I got in that classroom, man, and then, like I said, they had the TV set up and everything, and and then so we didn't get to see the first building fall, but the TVs were set up and everything, and we seen the second building happen. All right,
Right.
live, right?
Right.
Even as a fucking what was I? Maybe 17, 18, dude, whatever, 17, 18.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that wasn't right, dude. Like that was, I don't know, dude. You could see in my head, I guess. All right, I pictured the people in there, dude.
Ooh.
And about the plane hitting the building, who gives a flying fuck in a sense, right?
Right. Right.
It's about the people that are in that building. And then when the plane hit it, the people on the top in my head, those people were. I mean, I already said goodbye. I was 17 years old, dude. So I already said goodbye to those people, and and then the building fell, and then I was like, well, fuck.
Jeez, man.
After that, though, like the country, man, I seen fucking ads and the American flag everywhere, right?
Everywhere, man. It was crazy.
America, this is what the fuck we do, man. These motherfuckers attacked us. Let's get their ass,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, I was born for that shit in a sense because what we were doing as kids was the military, man.
Yeah.
So my recruiter got lucky, man. My recruiter got lucky. The time hit right. Me and my buddies, all of us, right, joined same time. All of us that had the camouflage on. Only one of us didn't, and then a couple didn't make it, but
Mm-hmm.
they joined. So he got recruiter of the year because man, it hit at the right time. Because when that shit I heard all the stories from Jimmy about Vietnam and America, and you gotta be proud of something, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And it just American flags every. It was like a big ass stew of brainwash in the sense. I mean,
Yes.
'cause that,
Yeah.
a lot of people, man. So I say that I'm not saying I was brainwashed, man. I was still floating up to the point of joining in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
and then I joined, and I went through boot camp. Yeah, swim week, man. So when you join the military join the military, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
When you join whatever, you think about the contract, right? How long that thing is, right? So for a second, we were thinking, okay, or I was thinking in my head, I'm like 13 weeks, because the Marine Corps boot camp is longer than any boot camp. So in my head, I'm like 13 weeks. Can I do it? Yeah, I can do
Mm.
it. But I didn't think about the other 8 years that I had
Eight
signed up for.
years, right? Jeez.
I didn't think about any of
Right.
that, right?
Right.
So like those 13 weeks, that's boot camp, 13 weeks, were like your main focus, right? You don't care about like what happens after boot camp or going to war and shit around, go fuck people up.
Right.
No, like, because, let's see, in 2003 is when I joined the Marine Corps.
Mm.
So I went to boot camp. When I got to my unit, right? So you go to boot camp, and then you go to your schooling, and then you go to your unit, right? And when you're at your unit in boot camp, let me go through boot camp real quick.
Yeah.
So in boot camp, you got 30 weeks, and they're broke down in certain stages, right?
Mm-hmm.
One swim week, right? And the only reason I'm talking about it is because I remember it. Because I fucking hate water, dude. Like, I fucking hate water, dude. Like, that was the worst week the whole time. And my grandma died in swim week, you swim, put on your camis, and they throw you in the pool, and you gotta tread water for like 5 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is where I had my problem.
Oh no.
So when you have all that heavy stuff on, dude, paddling is way fucking harder.
Naturally. It makes sense.
I mean, it's so I'm paddling, and I'm like, fuck, dude, just blow the whistle already, right? In my head,
Yeah.
this is the worst time, dude. So in my head, I'm like, blow the fucking whistle. It's been 5 minutes. I can feel it, right?
Right.
Like, I'm going to die if you don't blow it. Anyway, I made it through that. But why it was so tough, man, is because while I was in boot camp, they might have changed the shit. I imagine they did. But if you drown in swim week, the drill instructors, these motherfuckers are motherfuckers too. Like, by the time you're a drill instructor, dude, you're a hardcore Marine. Like, you're not a Marine, you're a fucking shitbag, right? Like, whatever, right? And they're training us, right?
Yeah.
So they'll let you drown, because they have the cockiness that they're going to be able to bring your ass back to life.
To revive you, right?
Yeah. And I think three recruits, you can't say they're Marines, they're recruits.
Yeah.
You call yourself a Marine in boot camp, dude, they'll whoop your ass.
Oh, wow.
You'll be in a whole different world. You'll be like, shit, I wish I wasn't thinking about being a Marine, motherfucker. But, so yeah, 3 recruits, man. Because when the drill instructor would come up to you, like, what the fuck? This one time, this shit's hilarious. To me. Yeah. So in the morning, you wake up, right? And it's you and your bunkmate, dude, in boot camp.
Uh-huh.
So you'll have to be a team, right?
Right.
You have to get made and perfect at the perfect time. So you have to be on one side and he has to be on the other at one point, and like
Mm-hmm.
vice versa. Like everything has to come together in sync, right?
Right.
It's weird because we're talking about energy, right? Atoms do that too. Okay. So as a drill instructor, you're controlling these beings of energy, and they have to coincide with each other and get shit done, right?
Right.
If they don't, drill instructor fucking wow, and your life sucks, right?
Right. Wait. So go back to your three recruited, or the three recruits. Were they able to be revived? Did anybody ever die during your boot camp or anything?
No, they died, man.
Oh.
Yeah, they
Oh
died.
man.
No, so when I was in boot camp, they died, but you don't. It's not like you get a newspaper and it's like, oh, these recruits died. No, your drill instructors set you down at a certain point
Mm-hmm.
in the training cycle and set you down, and a certain drill instructor would come in front of you. And dude, I swear I'm not even shitting you. This drill instructor for me looked
Oh,
like Vin
okay. But
Diesel.
taller, right?
He was the senior drill instructor, right? This dude looked like Vin Diesel. No bullshit. Like at the time, Triple X
No,
might not
not
even have
that
came out.
time.
Like Vin Diesel's movies or something
Right.
might have came out, right? So he looked like him in my head. I'm like, this motherfucker. I don't know if it's try to like compromise and make shit familiar.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But even if you seen him, if I had I'm looking around, man. I wish I had a picture of him. I do. I have a picture of my whole squadron, but he looks like Vin Diesel there.
Yeah.
So that guy right there, he looked like Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
So you
Perfect.
see too, man. Right?
Right. That is nuts, man. They actually let him drown. So you get through all that stuff. You're over your water portion, and you have your weapons training and all that, and you're running. So what happens? Talk to me about job assignment, and then what was your first day, if you recall, of service? Or
So after boot camp,
mm-hmm.
as a Marine's always, and this doesn't really kick in at all, honestly. This shit doesn't kick in at all. So I don't know if most people are like, fuck yeah. I mean, most people are like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna be a Marine. This is what I'm gonna do. This is
Yeah.
this is top level. This is it. But so after when I joined my recruiter, I joined as a 0311, which would have been a grunt, which would have been you kick doors in
Yeah.
and you hunt motherfuckers down, right?
Yeah.
So my recruiter was 3521, right, which is a diesel mechanic. And he said, man, you don't want to, because he's seen how I was, right? And this shit will make more sense too a little bit later, but he's seen me as a human. I never really like was around the recruiter as much as everybody else was. Like, oh, he's a recruiter, blah blah, Marine. Let's like praise him or whatever.
Right, right.
It wasn't me. I said, okay, I'll join the Marine Corps and let's, it's the thing, whatever, right? And I do remember watching a few movies with our recruiter. So it was crazy that I actually got to, like, my recruiter was my boss, right? Because your recruiter's really never your boss. This is the guy, most people are like, motherfucker.
I got you. Yeah.
Oh, shit, boy. Like, you don't want to be your boss, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, but, he's seen me at the time. He said, hey, you don't want to do the job you're trying to go into. Because, as a recruiter, he's already seen stuff.
Oh, I see.
And whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
So be a diesel mechanic, right? Do what I do, right? You still get to do certain things, but, you'll learn a skill. But when you get out, you'll be cool. You know, you can actually lean on the skill or whatever.
Right, right.
So for me, I was like, okay, well, I listened to him. I said, look, I'll be a diesel mechanic. In my head, you know, I was like, this could be good. I knew my dad as a mechanic. You know, he died when I was 10, so I knew him as a mechanic. You know.
Okay, I see. So it's already in your
And
blood then, huh?
so it kind of, yeah, that was kind of like the thing, right?
Right.
And so after boot camp, you go to combat training. So as a Marine, this is where people get it wrong, man. And it's just this one simple saying. You just have to pay close attention to it. That's what I'm saying about energies and stuff, like Bible verses and things like that. You just have to pay close attention to it and make more sense of it than it, you know, it might make extreme sense. There's more sense to be made of it, right? So every Marine is a rifleman, period, right? That we were trained that in boot camp. No matter what your job is, you could be cooking beans and you're going to be a rifleman no matter what, right? And so whatever. I'm not even thinking about that. I'm like, I'm fixing engines or whatever.
Right.
So you go to combat training and then you learn how to dig a hole, right? That was all fun times for me, man. You like go out, you dig a fucking hole with a buddy, and you figure out azimuths and the damn. You have to go on the map and you have to find certain things.
Yeah. What's azimuth before you get too far?
Through the land, right?
But before you go too far, what is azimuth for those of us who don't know?
This is like a extreme GPS situation.
Oh, I see.
Like a pinpoint of your bam. That's like you pick up the compass, point this thing in a certain way. It makes a certain shadow in a certain place, right?
Oh,
that's your GPS in a sense, right?
Wow.
That's your azimuth. So you learn that in boot camp, but all that was cool, man. I loved it because you were in your own team.
Yeah.
And the instructors were not next to you and shit. Like when they were next to you, life sucked, dude. It don't matter what you were doing.
Yeah.
You could have been eating motherfucking gold, and that shit would have sucked because your instructor's standing right there, man.
Right.
So you know we got our and that so 13 weeks of boot camp. And you have like 4 weeks of combat training, which you don't think of. And the combat training is the same as boot camp. So the people that are training you are like drill instructors. So they're fucking yelling at you. So your boot camp's longer than 13 weeks, basically, right?
Right.
No matter what. And so I go to my unit. I get to my unit. And it's me and this other, well, no, I don't get to my unit at that point. Combat training. Then we go to our school. I was in my school for like 6 months, man.
6 months? Wow.
Not because that's how long it takes to train you on it. It's because how long it took to cycle you through it, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
And then you had to do some bullshit like camp guard. So I was the guard of the Beirut Memorial.
Oh, okay.
Cemetery, big ass cemetery. So I'm out there young and shit, Marine, like hardcore, like you're thinking, like you talk about, like, yeah, fucking, this is what I'm doing, you know, like walking through the cemetery at like midnight, you know, and fucking any noise, I'm like, what the fuck, you know, like, hold on real quick.
Right.
So. For I think I was in camp guard for 3 months, right? And then I finally learned the mechanics part of it. I didn't learn shit, honestly. And you'll learn that as I talk, because when we go to my first duty station, this dude was there. It was me and this other Marine that had just got there, right? We're boots, what they call you. Your boots, that means you're just out of boot camp, right?
Oh,
you're
gotcha.
new, shit, right?
Kind of like rookie in sports.
Right.
Like you've done with training camp, and now you're rook.
You get hazed by everybody, and you're fucking just the boot, right?
Right.
So like, sucks. You're still in boot camp in a sense, right?
Yeah.
So like, until you pick up that rank.
Wait a minute. What was your funniest story about being a boot?
Oh man, being a boot, because I had So when I was in boot camp, So I do have a funny story. So in the morning we wake up, and you have to do certain things real fast, right?
Mm.
You have to go piss real quick. You have to go, like, if you're in a certain group, they're counting down for you. Brush your teeth. Boom, you go brush your teeth. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, you're brushing your teeth. They're counting down, right? 3, 2, 1, you're done. Boom, you got to go change your subject, right? So brushing your teeth, shaving. I think I told you when I met you, man.
Yeah.
Shaving wasn't my thing, but in the military that you have to shave, no matter what.
Yeah.
So in boot, you put shaving cream on. If you didn't, they would fuck you up. So you got to the point where it doesn't matter if you face. So you put shaving cream on, you shave it.
Oh, okay.
No, but they're counting 10, 9, 8, 7. Shaving cream, you got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Jeez.
0. They say 0, you're done. And then you would have to say, I'm done, sir, done, and then just fucking freeze.
Wow.
Good times, man. Good times.
Speed shaving.
In the shower, a bunch of naked people running around. They did that shit in the shower. These crazy motherfuckers. But anyway, though, to me, that's it. But
yeah.
As a recruit, you do it though, no matter what. Like they'll be counting down. Like I said, you'll be naked in the shower, dude. They're like, you have 4 seconds to soap your body. 10 or 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Like,
get all the important parts.
2 seconds to wash it off.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're running out of there and you got fucking soap all over the place.
Yeah, man. See, I get in trouble for that kind of stuff, man. I'm just like, that's good enough. Get out the shower.
That's me too, man. But at the same time, though, you have that dude in your face and shit. Like, you're like, I guess if you really, because I really wanted it, dude. So
Yeah.
I really, like, I didn't care if this dude was fucking yelling at me, spitting in my, because they literally, like COVID-19, I was like, damn, they're going to shut down boot camp and shit. Spit on you, dude. They'll fucking spit on you.
That's one of the worst things ever, man.
Like, I do it. In boot camp, you're going to get spit. The drill instructor be right here, blah, 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 but he's spitting the whole time.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to get yelled at, right? Because I don't want to get spit on. Because I don't.
Because it's disgusting. Right.
Right? So, I mean, there were so many things that you're in your head. You're like, yeah, that's not what you want anyway. So why would you do it? Like,
man.
You're getting yelled at. Poor you. You should have did better in this sense, I guess.
No, that's absolutely right. Same thing with us in sports.
So in the morning, I'm running to the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, form it up. So I'm behind on my task. I'm a little slow today.
Yeah.
Right? I'm making my bed usually, and I'm doing this, and they're counting down, and I'm cool, and I'm keeping up. But today I was a little slow, but I really had to fucking piss, right? So they're like, form it up. When they say that, you have to stop everything you're doing and run downstairs and get in the formation, right?
Right.
I fucking run to the bathroom, the head, right? I'm running to the head. I'm like, fuck this. I'm not pissing on myself because you piss on yourself. You piss on yourself. Hey, drill instructor, let me go. And they're like, no, piss on yourself. Fuck you, right?
Yeah.
You piss on yourself, right?
Uh-huh.
Stronger, though, right?
Right.
Does. Yeah, I mean, it might not sound like it, but piss on yourself once in a while. See, man.
So you'll be ready for it just every now and then, man. Just let it fly. Wait. Could you let it just hang out? And I mean, does that count, or did you have to stay like at attention?
No, man. If you were like, it just depended on you. Some of the recruits are like, "Hey, sir, I need to go," and they're like, "No," and they're like, "Well, fuck you." But they were just fucked up though.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't like you're a badass. No, you're dumbass, right?
Right.
You shouldn't have done that shit.
Yeah.
And so they make you pee. So I ran to the bathroom, dude. Fucking pull down my pants, pissing. My drill instructor's doing his rounds, and he runs in and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck, Sturgess?" Grabs me by the shoulder, dude, spins me around, and I'm pissing.
Oh no!
I'm not pissing,
Right.
And this is a dude that you don't want to piss on in your
Oh.
life at the point,
Right.
And at the point of your life that you're in right now, you don't want to piss on this dude who's like your shittiest nightmare, right?
Oh
So
no!
he grabs me by the shoulder, spins me around. Dude, I'm just pissing.
Oh no!
I piss. Drill instructors are wearing they're not wearing camis. They're wearing their uniform. So I pissed all on his leg, dude.
Oh no!
He kind of he paused and looked down and looked at me, and then that was the craziest drill instructor I had. He was like you had different layers of drill instructors. You had like one that was the senior.
Yeah.
He had been a drill instructor for a little bit.
Yeah.
You had the dude that was like head of the drill instructors. He'd been there for a little bit compared to them. And then you had two drill instructors that were kind of new, and they had to prove themselves, so they were fucking like hardcore.
Oh yeah.
Mouth, fucking, I can do this shit, right?
Yeah.
And he was those, right? And I pissed on his leg, and I was like, man. In my head, I was like, this can't be good, but he just spun me around and said, he looked down and he looked at me and he's like, get the fuck, like,
right.
in boot camp, in drill instructor voice, dude, they sound like frogs, man.
Frogs?
So it's weird because you're yelling all the time, so it's like,
oh yeah.
But really, and then if the person's hardcore because they'll be talking like this all the time, right? Because they're fucking yelling they're hardcore, So and through boot camp, that's what you did. So that was my moment, pissing on his leg, man. I think I could have dealt without that, but it didn't really do much to me. My grandma died when I was in boot camp, and I got a letter a couple of days prior. So I had it in my head, and we were drilling, and like in my house, it just built up, and I was like, "Fuck, too much." And then the drill instructor came back and attacked me for something I didn't do right in the drill, right?
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Fuck you, Sturgess, sit down. I don't give a shit about your drilling abilities."
Yeah.
He made me sit down on the parade deck, and he was just sitting there yelling at me, dude. And the whole time in my head, I'm like, my grandma,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't care about him, I'm like, man, I wonder if my grandma's cool or whatever. And then all of a sudden, I just got overwhelmed, and I almost knew she wasn't, right?
Right.
And like that was weakness to the drill instructor. So they kind of pinpointed me,
Yeah.
But the next day, because I could tell throughout the day they were trying. You got to toughen that shit up. You know what I mean?
Right.
I get it. Right?
Yeah.
It's a certain point of brainwash. You have to do it, and if you don't pass it, you can't do it.
Yeah. Because if you're thinking about something back home, that can really cause a lot of other people to get messed up or worse. Die.
But they didn't know that. They just seen me as a weak person at the time.
Oh, okay.
Right? Just like, why the fuck is he breaking down and being weak? You know?
Right.
So they were hardcore on me, and then the next day I got a blue or a Red Cross letter, and they called me in the office and said, "Hey, your grandmother's died, and you can go see her, but you're gonna have to start this over."
Whew.
And I said, "Hell no, y'all talk a good game," because they said, she's old, she lived a good life,
Right.
yeah, she proud of me for doing this. So in my head, I didn't tell the drill instructors that shit out loud.
Right.
Keep shit to yourself, and I was still freaking out, and like I said, no, I'm gonna stay, and I got different respect, dude, because there was a guy in our platoon that actually like broke out.
Mm.
There's a airport across the way from San Diego boot camp. He broke out, turned his camis inside out, and went to the airport and tried to buy a ticket to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
He had too much. It was too much
Yeah.
for him. And they caught him back, fucked him up. He was in my platoon, fucked him up, man. Like
Wow.
you seen it and you're like, man, what a dumbass. Like you don't want to do that. Right? You just want to
Right.
get it over with. In a sense, in my head, I was like, get over with. Dude. It's what you want. You go play in the dirt and shit.
Yeah.
And
That's crazy, man.
yeah, so finished all that combat training. Went through MCT, which is your MOS, which is like what they teach you to do, which was diesel mechanic,
Mm-hmm.
and they just kind of give you the basics at that point, and then they send you to your unit. So I got sent to my unit, and it was me and this other guy. And we get there, and they said so when Iraq was kind of popping off, it was 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Said, hey, one of y'all need to go with this battery, and the other one could go with this one, but this one's taken off, like 3 months. Another guy, I kind of knew him. I don't know how I knew. Maybe met him on the way over there,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he just got married, so I was like, you know what? I mean, that's what I wanted to do anyway. I wasn't trying to play, so I was like, I'll go,
Right.
and so that's how it went, man. And then I went, and so I say battery. I wasn't with the company. I was with the battery because I was with artillery, right?
Mm.
And in my head, as a young kid, I'm like, man, artillery. You think about where that is in the field of battle, and you're like, those fuckers are pretty fucking close, man. Like, like, I mean, they're not that close, but they're close. So in my head, I'm like stressing in a sense, right?
Right. Right.
Getting sent to artillery. That wasn't my first. You just get sent wherever you get, right?
Right.
Yo, you go here, you go whatever. You can say I want to go on the West Coast or East Coast. That's about as much saying as you got. And then if they decide otherwise, you don't have any saying at all anyway. So like,
Right. Right.
so I got put with artillery, and then I started training with them. So as a diesel mechanic with artillery, it's pretty important for your trucks to pull this stuff, right?
Right.
And then artillery, you get put on what they call a MU, a Marine Expeditionary Unit. Right, so on the MU, you get on the ship with all your gear, and you travel we went to Hawaii,
Oh wow.
Australia, Thailand, these different ports you hit.
Mm-hmm.
We hit, so we get on these ships, and this is after you do all the training. We had to do like riot training.
Right.
So countries could call the United States up and say, hey, we're having this problem. Can y'all stop it? And the Marines will stop on their shore because we're on the ship,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll disperse people, right? We're riot patrol. So we learned how to do that. We got sprayed in the face with
Mace, was it?
Oh,
or pepper spray?
spray and all that shit. And
Yeah.
But when we were training, it would be this Marine group against this Marine group, right?
Mm.
As a Marine, you're fucking hardcore, right? I don't give a shit what group you're part of.
Right.
You're fucking Marine, right? So like, you wouldn't know each other, and you just bam, right? Just gladiators in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Or not even gladiators. I guess just old time warfare where you just run together and start fucking each other up.
Hand-to-hand combat?
You know? So you have to train for that. And we had like this fake pepper spray.
Uh-huh.
It was like peppers and water, right?
Yeah.
Or like pepper and water, basically. So we'd spray people, and they'd be like, "Yeah, whatever." So they come up hardcore, right? But this time we had like real old sea spray. It was just the staff sergeants had it, but they talked us up. They're like, "Get those motherfuckers, rile them up, rile them." They knew they were gonna attack you, you know.
Increasing that energy, right?
They come and hit you, and then the fucking staff sergeant spray them all with this real OC spray, and everybody be like, "Oh shit!" I don't care how much you sprayed with it, you're not gonna get used to have an effective, you know, like it's gonna have even if you're just doing this and wiping it.
It's chemical, right? Like
fuck you up, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So it has an effect on you no matter what. So they're coming in like, yeah, you got pepper and water or whatever. Boom, get hit with the real shit, fall over, can't breathe and shit. Like,
yeah, man.
oh, it was cool. Did that back and forth. Like, you're the good guys, you're the rioters. Like,
yeah, okay.
you know, tips.
Wait, are you still a boot at this point?
No, you're out of boot camp
Okay,
at this point.
okay.
You got rank. I think I was a PFC. Every 6 months you pick up rank, you know, so
Oh,
or you pick up rank to a certain point to Lance Corporal, and then you have to start doing tests and all this
training,
other shit.
okay.
Or you just basically got to get your points up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but with that, yeah, they would drop, you know, hardcore pepper spray. So from the riot training, we got on the ships and we floated to Hawaii. For sure, you're gonna hit Hawaii no matter what, right?
Uh-huh.
We hit Pearl Harbor.
Oh wow.
We floated 4 battleships or whatever, 5, however many I'm not a Navy person, so however many battleships we had, you know, we floated in the harbor and pulled in, dude, and get on the ship and you look over and you see all the sunken ships and you're just like, man, you know.
Those are
like,
still there? Like from
yeah, you feel it. You just feel it, dude. You're like,
wow.
man, I can't. You know, that really fucking happened. You know that because that's a big thing with history. I guess you have to. You don't experience, man.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. And
Right.
if you don't experience, even if you know about it, you really don't know.
So wait, they actually have the same ones, or is it like a replica for like a memorial?
No, man. They just never pulled those ships up, dude.
Dude.
Some of them have, and they torched into them to save the people they could.
Yeah.
They pulled them up. Right?
That's crazy. I'd like to see that.
It's still there. Yeah. So you get all that. Did you feel all that? And so we trained there for like 5 days, and then our next stop was supposed to be in Hawaii. Is a beautiful place, man. Yeah, we drove across the island. We were lucky enough to have a car. I had a buddy that had a cousin there that had a car.
Mm-hmm.
She let us take it 45 minutes back and forth on the main island, dude.
Oh, wow.
Side island to the other in 45 minutes. They had one waterfall. My buddy ate every fucking thing that you seen on the ground because I was like, dude, you're going to die.
Like bugs and stuff?
Die, dude. But then you see these Samoans and you're like, how the fuck are these dudes that big? And then they pick everything up and eat it, I guess.
Just constantly eating it.
Because that's the only thing. You keep picking that shit up, you're going to die. You're going to pick up some poison bullshit.
Oh, so it's like fallen fruits and stuff like that. Like not just bugs or anything, but...
No.
I thought you were talking about like critters.
Berries, dude. All kinds of berries and shit. I'm like, you don't know if that shit's good, dude.
Right.
I know in Texas, if you eat the wrong berry, you're shitting for like 12 days.
Yeah.
It sucks. I mean, so he just, bam, every berry, purple, green, orange, it don't fucking matter. And I'm like,
did he get sick?
But he survived. So, no, he was a pretty smart guy when it came to that shit.
Oh, okay.
And then, we found the first or the only waterfall. It wasn't that amazing, but it was the only waterfall on the island.
Mm.
And then we went back and got on the ship and took off. We were supposed to go to Australia was our next stop,
Mm.
but it wasn't for. So we we were really like focused on Iraq at that point,
Mm.
so we didn't stop in Australia. We floated on the coast, but the helicopters brought our gear to us, like the food and shit we needed to
Right.
the ships, and we had to unload that. That was a pretty crazy experience.
That's nuts, man. So did you see any
And
combat?
yeah, I'll get to that.
Oh, my bad.
It,
I didn't mean to step on your
yeah,
story there.
no, yeah, it gets So I mean, even so with that, I mean, so in Australia, you're hoping you stop there, like you get to experience that.
Mm.
And as a person, you don't know why you want to experience it, but it's because of energy. There's something inside you that tells you but we're just blocking it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we go past Australia, we go to Kuwait, and while I was in the ship across, dude, I really didn't come out that much. So coming out because when we came out, it was cool. We came out to the ship, and the sun's blasting you. You're in the middle of the ocean. There's nothing else around for the sun rays to do anything. Fuck you up.
Oh. Yeah.
You're standing there and like they're fucking you up. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
And like you're looking around and it just looks flat, dude. I could see why they thought the world was flat and shit. I get it.
Yeah.
When you're in the middle of water, you look that way, it's flat. You look that way, it looks like, or it's not flat, but you look that way, it looks like it drops off.
Mm.
You look that way, it looks like you drop off. Every way you look like you just drop off, dude. It's just looking flat. You know what I mean?
Well, I can imagine.
And that's how you get it.
I can imagine back in those days.
The thing in the ocean were the dolphins. They would come to the front of the ships with the ships and just cruise the ship.
Yeah.
In the front of it. So you get to witness them just, hey, we're here, we're coming with you, So that was the only thing I came out of the whole of the ship for. So when we got to Kuwait and came out, man, and then we had to put our gear onto the LCACs that went through the water. Like you drove off the ship into the water, the water hit the land, and then they opened the thing and you ran off of them.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Your gear, right?
Yeah.
It's like a D-Day thing, right? For Marines, have you seen a D-Day video where they fucking hit the shore, running off of it, and bah, 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 bah. That's how it was, so I got to kind of experience that.
That's nuts.
That was cool, Almost died, though, because, most of those Marines, you just don't think about it. You see the video of them jumping off, you're like, oh, they're running pretty good. You don't think about, man, that dude's feeling like shit, man. Because I felt like shit when we hit the shore and like the sun hit me. And I started walking with my gear, dude. I think first time I almost had a heat stroke, right? Like, it was bad, right? Because we had to go from the shore to all the way to where we were camping out. With our gear, we had to just carry it. Then I didn't come out in the heat at all. I was just in the belly of the ship the whole time. So it was tough. And then when you get to Kuwait, right? After we were going to Kuwait, this is what we did as Marines. You get a class of how to work a gun, right?
Okay.
So when I say gun, I'm saying a 50 cal, which I was on the lot. Right?
Oh, is this it right here?
You have to calibrate it and get shit right. Because if it's not right, that big ass motherfucker isn't gonna fuck shit up like you want it to, right?
Right.
It's gonna fuck you up, right?
Right.
And so the whole time we're having all these classes, it gets old after you're like, man, fuck, dude, like. So when you get to the point of doing it, it's just kind of routine. You just like, you don't even know that you did it, right? So in the stressful, like classes you're going through it and it sucks. But in a combat situation, if you had to do it, you just go through the steps, right?
Right.
And it doesn't register. You're just like, okay. So it works. It's just miserable while it's happening, right? So that's the classes we did on ship. Then we got off, went to Kuwait. As a young Marine, dude, this is what So these guys have already went to Iraq once, right? The guys
Oh,
I'm with,
right.
and this was the push through Iraq. So they know, like, we're going from this spot in artillery. This is what happens. You go from this spot to this spot, and you dig in. So everybody
Mm,
else that's in artillery, it's not a gun. You dig a hole, get behind the gun, and you're protecting that shit, right?
right.
And so the whole time they did that, and then they had to go through cities. So they had to have one Marine like walk in front of the whole goddamn thing through the city by itself, right?
Whoa.
And find, yeah, dude, and find like a sniper or whatever, right? Whoever took him out, you're gonna get, right? Basically, the point, you never wanted to be the point man. That's that's a bad position.
Wow. Is that like bait then?
They always put the people that were nervous in that position though,
What is it like?
because if you're nervous about it, you're kind of like, you're on guard, dude. You don't want to die,
Right.
right? Like you're like, you really kind of want that guy on that position in a sense. I didn't really get that at first either, but I get, you do want that dude in that position. So those are the guys I'm going to Iraq with again, right?
Hmm.
So they're like hardcore, fucking, we're gonna dig holes and sleep in them, and this is what we're doing, and going through cities, and watch out for overpasses because they drop grenades down into your Humvee or 7-ton that you're in, and it blows up.
Jeez, man.
So from Kuwait, you cross into Iraq. And once you cross into Iraq, because we unloaded all our gear off the ships, right?
Hmm.
And then we went to Iraq. Or from Kuwait, we drove into Iraq. And the whole time we're driving, I mean, there's overpass after overpass. But it's not going anywhere. You can see that it's not fucking going anywhere. It's like from this side of the desert to this side of the desert, and there's nothing else there, dude. So why the fuck would anybody be there? But they talked up, watch out for overpasses because they drop grenades so much that every one of those fucking overpasses matters to you, dude.
That's nuts.
I think I'm 18. I'm going every overpass. I'm like, oh fuck, dude.
So why not?
Everyone.
Why not take them out? Is it just like structurally not sound? Like you needed that path,
I don't know, man. Honestly, I guess maybe not to
or at least hit them with that pepper spray?
policies, or they just knew that that wasn't the case,
Yeah.
and they were just gonna do it anyway, and they told you that story, dude. Honestly, I don't know, because they were. It wasn't overpasses. It was just like a sidewalk from one of the highway to the other. So whatever Iraq had built up, whatever Saddam had built up, it didn't complete, I guess. But it was one after another. You know what I mean? So we're going under on them. I'm like, fuck. So I'm 18 years old, completely like, never had this fucking much chemicals in my body in my life, and I've taken lots of drugs, dude. And like, I'm like, fuck, dude. We overpassed. I said, man, that's everyone. And there was like 20 of them. By the time we got to our camp,
Mm-hmm.
and as Marines, it had been a few hours, and then we got to our camp. It felt like forever though, right? Because every fucking overpass felt like 20 minutes an overpass, dude, because I would be watching it, and you scan it and shit, and you're like, your computer's fast, you just don't know it, man.
Man.
People just don't know that shit.
So for me as a civilian, I always think about that stuff like America has the best equipment and is high tech. Like, I'm thinking there are scanners and
no. So even before you say any more about that, dude, I don't understand why the fuck they fought us, dude.
Oh.
They didn't have. We could say, oh, this dude's in a building, call up a helicopter. They couldn't call up a helicopter. What the fuck are these idiots fighting us for, dude? And for real.
Yeah.
Why the fuck are these idiots fighting us, dude?
Pride, religion.
But for a grenade, to drop a grenade is so simple, but that's what they had. So I think it's more like that's what you expect, because that's what they have, right? We have all this. We have tanks, artillery. They don't even have artillery. We could call a helicopter. They can't do that, dude.
Right.
People are fighting us. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? You gotta be crazy, dumbasses, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But it's belief. Beliefs are serious.
Beliefs are serious, yeah.
Dangerous. They're dangerous.
So what were some of their advantages then, besides just knowing the land?
Well, okay, so for me, we didn't really. I mean, the higher ups probably understood the land more because of the maps and stuff, and they were dictating it, you know. But for us, if they would have set us down and said, "There's this many overpasses and don't worry about them," I would have been cool, you know. I wouldn't have been freaking out the whole fucking, like, 4 hours I was driving into Iraq. Like,
yeah,
I would have been a little cooler. But so you with year though, really, because the Iraqis really had the strategic advantage of knowing where they had their shit and how they could implement it, right? So they knew the land a little better than we did in that sense. And then we were just going into territory with way better fucking equipment, dude.
Right.
Like, way better. I don't understand why they even thought of it.
That sounds like, what was it, Hitler? You know, World War II. You know, they talk about...
It could have been. You know what, though? With Hitler, he did, though, with the tanks, dude. How the hell
well, that's the thing.
About tanks, man?
Well, he forced them to, like, I mean, you talk about around the clock. I mean, he's kind of one of the first people to really utilize drugs like crystal meth and things like that. Oh, yeah,
to get the soldiers going.
He believed in all that, man.
Japan did that shit, too, with the kamikazes, though.
Yeah. Well, even so, with the whole thing, ideal of, you got a country the size of about Wisconsin, right? And a lot of those stories that come out of there is that their tanks were superior. But for every one of their tanks, there were 3 American tanks and 3 of the British and, you know, the Allies, right? So this thing of, you know, people just have always tried to exploit how we can utilize what we have, you know? And so just throwing beliefs and people throwing people at the American army over and over was all they had. And, you know, they had a great way of utilizing that belief system, right?
Yeah, power in numbers, man. It's not even numbers, like, because you always have to have the people to operate that machine, right? You also have to have the people to make this son of a bitch. Yeah. Right. So, like, yeah, it's power in numbers. So if your people reject to make the shit, then you're obviously not going to succeed. But if your people make it and your soldiers don't want to implement it, you're not going to see. But what Hitler had for him was the fact that he motivated the people. He motivated them in a way that they did, obviously, whatever the fuck he said. You know, like, obviously. I don't think not even I don't think. I know for a fact if the Marine Corps would have told me to put a bunch of people in a place to gas chamber their ass, dude, I wouldn't have fucking done it, dude. Right. Now, that's too, like, I don't know. Even moral-wise, at the time as a young person, I wouldn't have really whatever. But I knew I would have known it wasn't right, you know? Like, morally might not have fucked me up because I was already brainwashed military-wise. But I would have known that that's not a good thing. Like, you shouldn't fucking do that. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing positive coming from that shit. You know what I mean? Right. So when it comes to Hitler, he was motivating. You have to give him that, man. He motivated people to do shit.
Man, I ain't got to give Hitler anything. Get out of here with that talk, Marine. Like, so what I will understand, like, I can understand certain things about him, of where he was a god to these people. Like, you got to think, there was...
Here's my issue, dude. So here's my thing, though. So as a Marine, you learn your... So in boot camp for other traditions, you don't learn your history and what... But in the Marine Corps boot camp, you learn your history. So when we were fucking Germany up because of this craziness, and we were saying, you motherfuckers are wrong, y'all are crazy as shit. They called us two for hundred, right? That's what I have that tattooed on my eyelids, man. Every Marine is called the devil dog based on that. We were fucking the Germans up so bad, they said 2 for 100, 2 for 100, and they had stories about us, and we're called devil dogs. And that's I have that on my eyelids, man. There's no way in hell, dude, that I agree with any of that shit. But
Right.
at the same time though, now that I am talking to you about it, or even talking aloud about it, Hitler really did have people motivated to do shit that a normal human wouldn't even think about. It's not even fathomable, right? Like,
Right, man.
you're like, this dude talked these people into doing some crazy shit, dude.
Right. So no,
So,
yeah, I get you, man.
You have the Japanese attacking Pearl Harbor too, and they were on drugs, man. So what you said would do maybe all the Nazis and shit. They just that's a good ass crystal, man.
Yeah,
dude.
man. Just look, give me my fix. I'll do whatever. I'll go wherever.
Right.
Yeah,
and give
man.
it back to you when I'm done, because that shit's gonna catch me, and I have to keep on doing it. That's what it might be, because when I got out of the Marine Corps and I went back to my hometown, dude,
Mm-hmm.
that's when meth and shit was like coming to apparition or whatever.
Yeah.
I came home and I'm like, fuck you people, dude. Like, I hated all my friends. They're dumb, dude.
Yeah, man. So
That's why I'm in Texas, dude.
Yeah. So we're winding down here. I want to end on this question. I'm sure you've heard a lot. Thank you for your service, and I'm gonna say again here, thank you for your service, bro. What's one thing? Because one, do you ever get tired of that? And two, what would you rather people say or do for our vets?
Get tired of so with vets and stuff, dude, it's not about, I don't know, man. We appreciate everything that people do. I guarantee that.
Yeah.
Guarantee. I was in the VA hospital this last Veterans Day, dude. And they did a little parade that went actually around the veteran hospital, which was, a little bitty thing, Boy Scouts and shit. But dude, it just shows, man.
Yeah.
Like,
it's that energy. It's that energy you keep talking about.
It's the energy, because it shows. Look, hey, I was energized at 9/11 to join this shit to go fight for freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I was energized enough to go kill somebody, honestly.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
That's how energized I was, and I'm positive about it, and there's no regrets and shit. I love my country. And then as you go along life, dude, you figure out that that's kind of how it goes, man. You'll find energy sources. You'll find things that like boost you, don't boost you. You go towards this, you don't go towards this. Like,
yeah,
if we were more in tune to ourselves, we would like naturally do that.
Right. So we'll tease it there. I want to thank my special guest here, Corporal Jeremy Sturgess, Mr. Marine here. I'll tell you what I want to get done is have you, we got to get rid of this virus stuff, but I'd love to have you, I'd say in the studio, but everybody's in their house right now. But I would love to have a conversation and feel that energy like when we first met, man. That I understand what you say about energy. So please come back on the show, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shit. I've been through a lot, man.